guys, how's it going? It's been a while since I posted a video, but I've been learning to fly full scale or real aircraft. I've got about 50 hours logged in my training right now and I'm having an absolute blast with that. Now I know a lot of you guys are into scratch building and finding inexpensive ways to get into the air. Now I've got a model that I'd like to share with you because I think that it fits that bill. It's a foamy plane, it's a great value, it's super easy to put together. It's basically a ducted fan flying wing. And this aircraft shape is very similar to the multiplex fun jet, but I think you'll see in this video that you get a lot more bang for your buck. Now I got this from a company called Airborne-models, and they also have a secondary website called the Wingsmaker. I'll put links to both of these underneath the video. It's a US-based company that's a really short drive for me, so I knew I had to go check out what they had. They got a great selection of models, everything from wood and monocoque covered to foamies, trainers, and they even have RC boats and a car. Now the owner of this company is passionate about RC aircraft and making the hobby more enjoyable, and I'll show you what I mean as I go over some of the details with this model. You can buy this as a kit for $49, which is just the foam, or like I have it here for $99, and that includes the EDF, the motors, the servos, pre-installed by the way, which is really cool. There's a little launching cart, which I'm going to show you as I open the box. And as a point of comparison, you'd have to spend $50 more just to get a multiplex fun jet that also has a motor. If you want to see how easy this jet is to build, I'm going to cover that at the end of this video. Alright, so we're out at the field here, about to give this a nice little test fly. You can put this plane together in about 15 minutes or less. Like seriously, this thing goes together so easily. Now I'm going to try hand launching this. It has a really nice big hold on the bottom here for hand launching it. So I'm going to try that first because that's what I'm used to. But again, it also comes with this little cart, which we'll try afterwards. And this is so you can do a rolling takeoff. So you just stick it on here, set this on the ground, give it full throttle, and it's, as you can see, it's already sort of at a nose-up angle. So once it gets enough speed, it should lift right off. That's the theory. We'll give it a try. So let's put this thing up in the air and see how it flies. All right, so we got everything powered on, and quick little throttle test, and this thing, feels like it just wants to launch right out of my hand. So it should have plenty of thrust. Got a nice little bit of headwind here, so I'm just going to give about 3/4 throttle and a nice toss and see how it goes. Wow, this thing's fast. Wow, that is... So he told me this has some nice slow flight characteristics, and I gotta say, right off the bat, I can see that. Nice straight and level when I give it power. It just goes straight. It doesn't nose down or up. I'm flying at about, well, I'll look at the video later, but it feels like a little less than half right now. And it's a nice, fun speed, requiring just a little bit of input for making the turns. Let's see, here's a roll. Wow, that rolls real quick, even at a slower speed. Yeah, oh wow, I really like how this handles for slow flight. And that's nice, when you have an EDF that takes a little bit of time to spool up, you want that sometimes in the turns. So it gives you a chance to get flying the thing again before it falls out of the sky. Alright, so let's kick it up a notch here, or a couple notches. Wow, that's climbing vertical. Drop the throttle, see what it does straight up. Kicks around, and let's see if it pulls itself out of a dive. Almost. But that's not bad. Most jets aren't going to pull themselves out real well, so I didn't expect it to, but again, good flight characteristics. Really a screamer. I don't have any dual rate set up right now. I should, because it's real touchy when you get those high speeds. Yeah, for a 64mm EDF, I think this thing does real nice.
I think it's going to be fun to try launching this from the cart. Now, hand launch was no problem at all, but I think the cart will add a little bit of interesting... Wow, that thing really... Of course, you can see it snap over quicker on the direction where it's utilizing the torque of the motor. Yeah, you could roll this thing all day. And here's the throttle off. Let's bring this thing around and see how slow we can fly it by us here. Now again, we do have just a little bit of a breeze for a headwind, but nothing crazy, so you'll get a decent idea of how this thing handles at slow speed. Throttle off right now. Yeah, look at that. That's awesome. And then it just powers right back up to high-speed flight. Climbs vertical if you want it to. That's all up elevator and a little aileron. Probably been flying for about 3 minutes, I'm gonna guess. Haven't been doing a whole lot of full throttle, but it still feels and sounds like it's got a lot of juice left in the battery. I mean, the way this thing flies, I could definitely see it getting some good flights in here. I mean, I'm gonna guess for typical flying, you know, a good 7 minutes. And if you start doing more sport flying, maybe 6 minutes. And if you just want to have a good time with it, maybe you could push it to 10. It's kind of fun just to fly it around slow, actually. Alright, that was a full up just to see what it did. And the wing kind of stalled as it was trying to do a real tight loop. Alright, let's bring this down and try that cart out. See if I can land this thing right at my feet. It's probably going to be challenging because it glides so well. Oh, stop gliding! Alright, well, we got it on the cart. And I got the cart lined up as best I can to go straight down the street here. So we're gonna see how this works. Oh, that was cool. That works well.
Intermediate to advanced flyers are going to have a lot of fun with this. It does fly nice and slow and stable, so if you're just getting into ducted fans, this would also be a good choice. It's a great value for fast, fun flying. It's really easy to build, and it's built to last for a long time. I picked up a catalog when I was at Airborne-models. Wanted to see the other kind of stuff they had available. Of course, this is all on their website too, but just a really good selection of all sorts of different aircraft. You know, you've got, here's a great trainer plane. He's got other slow-flying kind of trainer planes. Of course, you've got warbirds. Here's some fast pylon racer kind of stuff. Warbirds. Here's some of the foamies that he got, the foamy jets. Gliders. So all sorts of different aircraft. If you're interested, go check them out. Airborne-models, US-based company. Alright, let's dig into this box here for the DF-032. Check out what's inside. Alright, so we got the manual. That's nice. Actually having a manual with instructions. And apparently the guy who owns the US company actually helps write some of these manuals. So that's nice. Makes them easier to understand. We got the decal set for the jet. And we can see that it's nicely packed in there. Going to keep it nice and safe. It's a nice heavy-duty box. Sometimes I find RC models don't come in very nice heavy-duty boxes. But so here's the two wings. And we're going to notice, of course, with this one, it comes pre-installed with the servos and the push rods and everything's adjusted. You just glue these things on the jet and you're ready to go. We got the wings there. Here's the fuselage. There's the intake for the EDF. And down here is a handhold actually. So this is for when you launch the plane. And that's really cool. Really, this thing is really easy to hold on to. So that's cool. And we got the little wing tips, so the winglets. There's the vertical stabilizer, carbon fiber spar for the wings, and this thing here. And it comes with this cool little cart here. You got little wheels here that sit on the ground. The jet sits on top of this. So if you don't want to do a hand launch with this, if you'd rather get that full speed and then pull off the ground, you can do it with this cart. So that's kind of a cool feature. So now that I got the pieces out of the box and out of the wrapping, just wanted to take a little bit of time to go over some of the things that I really like about this model. Some of the things that really separate it from others in terms of like quality and attention to detail. Okay, I mean, it really shows that the people making this model, they're not just out to only make a buck. They really want to make your experience of putting the model together and flying it over the years a fun one. So this model is made out of what looks to be like a lapper kind of foam, which is really well known to be a very durable kind of foam. It's somewhat flexible so that in a crash it gives a little bit and doesn't just completely fall apart, so that's really nice. Another cool thing about this foam on this jet is you're able to use just regular CA glue on it, okay? It's not going to hurt it. In fact, so flipping this thing over here and taking a look at the hatch here, it's got a magnets on it to keep it closed. Might be hard to see on the camera, maybe not actually. You can see these magnets are glued to a piece of wood that's glued to the foam. Now a lot of times when I see models like this, they have the magnets that are just really quickly glued into the foam with a really crappy glue. The way these magnets are done, I suspect they're going to last a long time and not just fall out like I've had them done in the past with a lot of other models. So really cool there. Now another magnetic hatch is on the bottom which covers the EDF. So that's really nice, and again you can see the really quality job on the magnets, how they're glued into the hatches here. Flipping back over, we see it's got a laser cut plywood battery tray, and that's really cool. A lot of times in models I see where it's just an empty cavity and you got to put your own Velcro down to make your battery stay. This has a laser cut tray which is in here really solid. This thing is not going to come out. It comes with a little Velcro so that you can secure your battery in there really well. Alright, let's flip it back over here. Take a quick look at the EDF. This is a 64mm EDF in here, and you can tell that it's removable, which is nice, and it's held in with actual screws onto the plywood that's glued in here instead of just glue. Sometimes when you try to take a EDF out, or if you want to put a larger one in, getting it out ruins the foam because of the way that they've glued it in there. And this EDF also has a nice tapered cone back here to make the airflow go nice and smooth over it. Probably gets a couple more grams of thrust out of there, who knows. And another thing that you can't tell, but I have seen this at the guy's shop, is that this EDF comes apart and it's easy to replace the blades. Now take your typical cheap 64mm EDF here. Now I don't know if you guys mess with these much, but they have one little teeny screw holding on your impeller, and good luck trying to get all this apart. They can be very challenging sometimes, the way that the blades are held onto whatever collet or adapter that goes onto the motor shaft. So, alright, wanted to show you the plug for the EDF. Now here's the plug right here. You guys might be used to seeing just exposed bullet connectors, but this is a nice little feature here. Now this I've got plugged in just a regular ESC that I had, with the typical bullet connectors like this. So this still will plug in if you want to use your own ESC and its plugs. If you want to, this kit actually comes with the other side of this plug, so you can solder this on, and it makes it a little easier to remove your plugs, and you can still change the direction of your motor. All you got to do is unplug this, flip it around, and stick it back in. You've changed two of the wires, and now your motor will spin the other direction. Guys, I have gone ahead and removed the screws and carefully pried out this hatch here, this servo hatch, because I wanted to show you again another little attention to detail here. This servo is replaceable, and it doesn't hurt the foam at all. So the servo is actually, using the servo tabs to screw it to this plate right here.
And this plate then screws into this right here, which is actually a nice little piece of plywood that's glued into your wing. So if you ever need to replace your servos, you know, a lot of models, a lot of foamies, you're just gluing the servos right into the wing, and you're kind of like messing up the foam when you take that servo out. So again, nice attention to detail where you can remove and replace parts that are broken over time. You know, it shows that they want you to enjoy this model for years to come. So you can see the aileron hinge is just foam. Now I know that this is done very commonly in the industry, but over time this foam could wear out. So what the owner recommended is, you know, give this maybe 30 flights, 20, 30 flights, and after that, after it kind of, you know, gets used a little bit, they've supplied some tape that you can put in these cracks here to make sure that your control surfaces never fall off. Okay? Again, I think that's really cool. It shows I'm going the extra mile. Alright, now it's time to throw everything together. Now all you got to do really is glue the winglets on and glue the wings to the fuselage and then glue your vertical stabilizer on. And that's pretty much it. So I'm going to recommend, and I'm going to be using hot glue in this. I did a little test on some other little sample pieces of this foam. Didn't hurt at all. I have had some of these kind of elapper kind of foams that melt quite a bit with the hot glue, but this seemed to handle it just fine. So I'm going to recommend that you use hot glue for speed and security of the build. Alright, so here we go. Winglet number 1. Gonna throw some hot glue here in this little pocket down there. Grab this guy and just shove it right on there, and any hot glue that comes out of the cracks there, we're just going to use a little piece of wood to kind of smear it, smooth it out. We'll do that on top here too. There we go. That'll make a nice strong joint. Alright, so there's winglet number 1. Go ahead and do the other side. Okay, the next step is to glue a wing to a fuselage, and the only thing you want to be careful of is to not get the servo wire in your glue joint. And the cool thing is the way they made this, even after you glue the wings together, there's a little pocket right there so your servo wire can slip out and you can replace that servo if you ever need to without having to unglue the wing. So anyway, we're going to take our wing and get our hot glue gun and put some on the end like this and some on this surface here. Now if you might notice, I'm not putting any on the surfaces that slide. I'm only putting it on surfaces that touch each other, because if you put them on the ones that have to slide past each other, it could make it pretty difficult to slide it in there. So let's go like that. We're going to hold it for, I don't know, 30 seconds or so until the glue cools. If we want, we can use a little bit of heat and smooth that glue out. Alright, now that we've got one wing glued on, I'm going to go ahead and do the other one. Now don't forget to put your carbon fiber spar in there. So it just slips right in this hole in the fuselage there. Push it in all the way till it stops. And then go ahead and put some more glue on these surfaces here. And slide it down on in and glue it in. Alright, now that we got our glue gun hot still, last step to do is to glue on the vertical stabilizer like that. Okay, now everything's glued together. Next step is to run your 2 servo wires through these nice little holes already in the fuselage. You can see how easy it is to move them in and out. So just stick it through there. Get both of these guys in here like this. So I've been timing myself on this build so far, and I'm at about, I don't know, 6 minutes or so. Shoot, you guys might be able to do it even faster. And all that's left now is to throw in your electronics, do a quick little Elevon mixing programming on your radio, and you're good to fly. Now the last thing you might want to do is to glue on the these little guys here. Now you might have seen some of this stuff. It comes in rolls in the hardware store for lining your drawers and stuff, but it's included in the kit. If you get the $100 kit, it comes with this little cart with wheels. And what I did is I glued on these pieces here because I believe they're to help kind of make the model stick, if you will, on the bottom. So this cart would be rolling along the ground, and so the jet's kind of pushing it along. So it needs a little bit of extra kind of sticky friction. So I went ahead and glued those pieces onto the bottom of this cart here. And the way I did it was just with a little bit of 3M spray here, the 77, or maybe if you wanted more permanent stuff, you could use that. But just sprayed a little bit on this foam cart, stuck these on, and then I'm good to go. So we're talking in about 10-15 minutes
from opening the box to gluing it all together, doing a little programming, you're ready to fly. Alright, so we've got our plane all assembled here. Got the servo wires run through the fuselage and hooked up to my receiver here. And in this plane, I'm using a 30 amp brushless speed controller that I got from Airborne-Models. And I'm using his plugs on here, which are really nice. And like I just showed you on the battery side, and by the way, these won't go together unless they're put together the right way. There's like a little key in there. So on that side it goes together like that. And on the motor side, you have this kind of plug. And by the way, these are really easy to put together. You just slide this piece on first, solder your bullet connectors on, and then just squeeze these together, and then you're all set. This model does come with the connector already on the motor side. And as you guys know, with brushless motors, you have 3 wires, and all you got to do is swap any 2 of them, and it changes the direction of the motor. So you can do that very easily with these plugs. Okay, let's say I put it on like this, and the motor's spinning the wrong way. Again, here's my nice tool to separate these very easily. I just stick it on here, go like that, twist it around 180, and put it back together like that. And now my motor's spinning in the other direction. So then to complete the mounting of the electronics in here, I'm going to use a little double stick tape that was provided with this kit and mount my ESC right here. There's a hole right here that goes through into the intake duct, and that allows cooling air to pass right by the heat sink of the ESC. So make sure to stick it down right here to keep your ESC nice and cool. And also on this model, there is an intake right here for cooling air to come in, and of course it can exit down out this hole here, and there's another hole right here. Alright, so I got a question for you guys. How many of you have had this situation happen to you? If you got your battery and your plane, let's say this is your fuselage here, and you've got it all hooked up, and you're trying to get the connector apart, and you're pulling really hard on it, you're tugging, and all of a sudden when it goes, oh, and it screws up your fuselage, cracks it. Hopefully it hasn't done that much damage to it. Okay, well, the guy over at Airborne-Models has created a different kind of plug. Now this is really nice. Check this out. So here's the kind of plug that he sells, and here it is going together like this. Okay, now check this out. He's created a tool so that you can easily take it apart. Like this, you just slip the tool on, you simply squeeze like that, and it takes it apart. So if you have your battery in your fuselage here, okay, you got everything connected, and it's in like that, all you got to do is take your tool, slide it on like this, and just go snip like that, and apart it comes, and you haven't damaged your fuselage.